It's 3 a.m. Your app is down. Users are panicking because they can't get into the app and you have no idea what's going on or how to fix it. Welcome to Vibe Coding in 2026. Right now, it's easier than ever to build an app over a weekend, but the real problem starts after your app gets live. So if you've been using AI to build most of your app up to now, this video is probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it might also be the most important thing that you watch this year, because the gap between founders who are using AI to become better builders and founders who are using AI instead of becoming better builders is growing really fast. And right now, you need to figure out which side you are on. Number one, you cannot actually fix your own bugs. AI gives us this perception that if we just prompt it, if we just ask questions, if we just say fix this, then it will actually fix it. But the reality is you don't even know the first place of where to look to fix that. Is it at the database level? Is it at the packets being passed from the front end to the back end? Is it a UI issue? Where does the actual source of the issue go? We don't know because AI obscures it all. You can paste the error code into ChatGPT and it'll give you a fix, but the problem is, as you've probably observed, it just ends up breaking something else. The reason this happens is because the database is the most fundamental part of your app. And when you use a vibe coding platform like Replit or Lovable, what happens is it designs the app from the front end backwards, meaning it just does everything on the back end that it needs to serve the data on the front end that you're showing to users. So what ends up happening is the front end becomes really nice and smooth, but the back end becomes a mess because every time you send a new prompt, it's creating new entries in the database, but the database wasn't architected and structured in a way that was going to be advantageous to your app developing over time. They built it just to serve the exact need in the first prompt that you sent. So what happens is the more times you prompt it, it creates basically a spaghetti mess on the back end where wires are crossing and then errors are happening. And no matter how much prompting you do, the AI can't fix it. You end up in this loop where every few hours your app is down because a new bug pops up and the back end is all messy. And so there's no easy way to diagnose and fix it because every time you adjust this variable over here, it throws that one off of balance because all these systems on the back end are logic based. So you add more weight to one scale, it takes the other one up. So what happens is you build this whole app and you become dependent on AI to diagnose and fix it, but it cannot physically possibly do that because of the way that your prompts are structured in the first place. So you need to get away from designing from the front end first and relying on AI to solve all the back end issues. Number two, you don't know why your app is running slow. Users are complaining, load times are slow. You can see the issue, but you just can't explain it. Now, if you didn't know this, the speed at which apps load is one of the most important factors in conversion rate. Amazon spent billions of dollars just optimizing load speed so that their app will be so fast and so easy to use that nobody would even notice that they're using it. So load speed is a serious issue. And when the backend, as I was saying before, when the backend gets convoluted and you got all these relational databases that aren't playing nicely together, what happens is it results in a slow app. It has to go pick up data from here and come back and from here and so on. And the bottom line is you have no real understanding of what's causing it, whether it's the database, the server, front-end code, third-party API calls, and this all comes from, hey, you're not a developer by trade. And if you are, great, you know how to fix it. But if you're just a founder who's building something, it becomes a problem. Bottom line is you can't fix what you cannot diagnose. And you don't have that foundation to be able to diagnose anything. One, because you didn't design the architecture in the back end. And two, because you don't understand how to go in and audit your own code. So the app that goes really fast in the beginning while you're developing it ends up being slow on the back end. And that's what you want to avoid. So what I like to do when I'm vibe coding apps is I will actually have my AI prompt. I will go back and forth with it until I design the actual optimal architecture based on the user journey that I'm trying to create. So let's just say I have a meditation app and I want them to go through these 5 steps to complete their first meditation. I would share that actual flow chart with my AI and say, what's the best backend architecture to support building this? And then I would also ask, hey, I'd like to add X, Y, and Z features in the future. Make sure that you build that database so that it can support those future features and not have to create some offshoot code. So you want to use AI on the front end to refine your prompts to understand the architecture of what you want to build and then feed that in. Number 3, you cannot add a new feature without breaking something else. I'm sure you've dealt with this, especially because when you start using AI coders, it's very tempting to build every feature that you can imagine and your inspiration flywheel just starts turning and all these new ideas come up and you get so excited about it and you just start firing off all these features. And you know what? It actually builds them. It makes the front end look nice. You'll get that new menu item. You'll get that little plugin or chat or whatever it is that you're looking for. But what ends up happening is when you take it live, of course, It's buggy, it's slow, it doesn't work. It all goes back to this concept that every time you touch the code base, it affects something else. Remember, you got a bunch of logical systems. So think of like levers in a machine. When this one goes down, that one goes up. And so every time you make an adjustment, you're setting something askew elsewhere in the app. And that's why these bugs happen, because these two wires will cross and then it'll zap out. This is because AI writes everything in isolation. It doesn't accommodate for the bigger picture architecture that I was talking about, that you have to give it to before you build the front end of the app. In traditional app development, that's always how it works. The first thing that you do is you design the UX that you want. Hey, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And then the database architect or the systems architect will actually go through and design a database for you so that you know that you can access the right data at the right times and you're not pulling excessive data, whereas you're not pulling too little data to where you can serve the exact experience that people want without having all this heavy code and slow load times and things like that. Those slow load times and bugs, that all comes from excess code or code that is not coordinated on the back end. And then this leads to you being nervous about making changes to the app, because it's like every time I try to fix something, it just ends up breaking something else. And that's not really an optimal way to work, obviously, right? That's gonna put a stop in your tracks and prevent you from making progress. And this kind of blocker might be a permanent blocker, so you really have to be careful here. Mistake number 4, and this one is huge. You probably heard it before, but you have no idea whether your app is secure. Again, this is one of the main rookie mistakes I made on my first app. After my second developer came in, the app was beautiful, worked great, the design was nice, everything was native, it was really smooth, but he was like, all your users' passwords and login data are stored in a spreadsheet on a public server that anybody could pick up and access and steal all of your user sensitive information. That was a major gaping hole. Now, AI does the same thing, unfortunately. It's kind of like an amateur developer in that sense, especially if you're planning to start B2B or any kind of electronic health data. These things become very serious and very sensitive. So AI generates your auth, so your login experience, your payments, how your users' data is handled, which again, if security isn't a primary consideration here, you can see how risky that is. And you've never reviewed any of it properly because you simply don't know what to look for. You're not a security engineer, or at least I'm not. And if you have one vulnerability, that could turn into a data breach, could turn into a lawsuit, chargebacks, and much worse. So you need to make sure that you're staying buttoned up when it comes to security. This is another thing that can kill your app permanently. So what do you do instead? You got to go to the experts. Now is not the time to be cheap. Unless you're just building a prototype and you don't actually plan on processing users' payments and sensitive information, okay, fine, use AI to build that prototype. But if you're actually building an app that you're planning to release to the world, you need to take that into consideration and don't be cheap. Get the experts on your side, go on Upwork, go ask for referrals, go find somebody who can really audit it and make sure that they cover up those little security holes. A good security engineer can do a lot with very little effort, especially if the code's already written. Mistake number 5, you cannot explain how your app works to a developer or to an investor. Now, you could see where the risk comes in here. Obviously, investor pitches could go bad if they think that you're some kind of phony who doesn't actually understand what they're doing. They're obviously not going to invest their money with somebody who seems like an amateur. And when it comes to a developer, obviously he could spend a lot of time and money fixing your issues because he has to go and research and get to the bottom of it himself. Someone's going to ask how your backend works and you're genuinely not going to know. And then you can't hand it off to a developer because you don't understand the architecture because you didn't write it. And then with investors, they can smell it really quick. If they feel like a founder doesn't understand how their product works and they're basically a shell of a business that's using AI to kind of ragtag their way through it, I'm not investing in that personally. It kills deals and it kills your ability to bring in technical help. And mistake number 6, you get stuck and you can't scale what you don't understand. You end up hitting this ceiling with what AI can achieve without any real foundation to the business. You didn't design the architecture, you didn't design the database. So what happens is the app works at first beautifully, and then of course it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you don't really have a way forward. And this is where somebody like me ends up coming in. So if you want help with this, feel free to reach out. Always eager to help other founders kind of get unstuck and not be bound by the limits of AI or maybe the limiting beliefs or limited understanding that we might have as we go into this. So if you've built your app and you want a proven way to get more users and optimize your product so that it works smoothly, click the link in the bio and I'd be happy to help you with that. Hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next video.